This is Power Breakfast on Citizen TV. Thanks for staying with us. Seeing as it's the beginning of another week, time for us to get inspired. We've got our own Dr. Wale Akinyemi back with us, motivational speaker and personal development consultant. It's good to see you. I missed you last week.
Yes,
Right, so today we're going to be talking a little bit about the importance of having a clear vision for your life, right? And maybe we can start by defining what a clear vision actually looks like.
A vision is a destination. Where are you going? And a lot of people, the truth is, if you don't know where you are going, you have to get down where you are dropped. And, you know, it's true. You get into a matatu or something and say, where are you going? I don't know.
I'm not sure, yeah.
I'm not sure. Ultimately, they'll tell you to get out. And unfortunately, life is dropping many people, you know, along the wayside because there was no clear definition of where they are going. Even the Bible says without a vision, people will perish.
Right.
So it's a destination.
It's a destination.
Yes.
So this is the same thing as having a dream. A lot of people have dreams or wishes or...
No. A dream is a shadow. A vision is substance.
Okay.
A dream is a wish, something which is good. But what converts it from dream to vision is that you have an action plan. Is that, okay, this vision, this is where I'm going, and these are the key things I need to do, because every dream has a demand for it to become a vision. You know, and this is the problem I think a lot of people have, is that we have great dreams about where we want to be, the kind of life we want to live, and all that, but we're not ready to pay the price for it. There is a demand. It's not free.
And maybe we can talk about what the price is of having that clear vision and following it along the way.
For instance, I said this last week. I said any dream you have that does not significantly alter your lifestyle, it's not going to happen. You have a dream, you know, maybe somebody has a dream to look as lovely as you, then you hit the gym. You hit a lot of things. It's not going to happen by just sitting down and wishing. You know, I had a dream for the kind of life I want to live, and I realized that that kind of life is not going to happen by me sitting down and wishing. I began to read like I was doing an exam. You know, I was talking with my driver on the way here, and we're talking about the fact that some people are schooled, others are educated. The fact that you are schooled does not mean you are educated. Yeah. You know, and it's very, very important for us to educate ourselves for where we want to go. So first thing, we must identify this place I want to go, this kind of life I want to live. What's the demand? What is it that I need to do? Then what is the language of my dream? You know, because if you don't understand the language of our dream, I give you an example. You work in an office and you are eyeing promotion and all that. The language of the top is language of solutions. The language at the bottom is a language of complaining. So you decide where you want to be. Right. And by your words you shall be known. If you are among the complainers, then you will stay there.
Well, when a lot of people are setting their visions, you might feel like you need to limit yourself according to the realities of life sometimes, and feeling like, I don't want to dream too big, I want it also to be realistic. What would you say to...
You need to define what your reality is. Realistic is relative.
Oh. This is true. This is true.
Realistic is relative. I remember a story I read of many, many years ago. A man who, Adnan Khashoggi, you know, was a billionaire. And there was this time he was supposedly broke, and he was driven to the airport in his own Rolls Royce, got on his own private jet, was flown from London to Switzerland, I think it was, and he was picked with in his own private jet, like I said, picked with his own, another Rolls Royce there that belonged to him, and taken to a 5-star hotel that belonged to him, and he was broke. I like that broke. God, let me be broke like that. That one I like. Right. You know, so it's relative. You know, and one thing I have always believed in is that, you know, whether I think small or I think big, it's not going to, I'm not going to be given an invoice for it. Right. So I might as well think big and work for it. Yeah. Yeah. But like I said, the demand is, the demand would determine or the size of the vision would determine the demand. So you cannot want to be somebody that I look up to, you know, the late Miles Monroe and people like that. You can't want to be like that and just sit down and you're not developing yourself. And that's one of the reasons why you find a lot of people, when they're talking, you know, a lot of motivational speakers. I'm not a motivational speaker. I think we've had a conversation before.
Right.
I'm a strategy consultant, but it just so happens that when I talk,
you motivate people.
People get motivated. You know, the first time I saw people call me a motivational speaker, I needed motivation myself. You know, but when I see someone like that, I find out what is the story behind the glory.
Right.
You see, a lot of people covet the glory, but are not ready for the story. You know, I was having a chat with a friend of mine yesterday, and I said, one of the hallmarks of great people that I have seen, you won't believe what it is. At one point in their life, they are betrayed by people that they love.
Wow. Yeah.
They are betrayed by people that they trust. So I told him, if you are not ready for betrayal, you're not ready. It's a bridge you have to pass.
Yeah.
You know, at some point it will come. We've all gone through it. You know, so I look at someone like Miles Monroe and all that, and I say, okay, what's the demand? I have to read more. I have to engage my mind in more, you know, important things. I cannot engage in the small talking about people. You know, that's the lowest level of thinking.
Small mind.
Yes, that's the lowest level of thinking. We need to be thinking about solutions. We need to think about ideas, you know, and how we can take the nation forward, take things forward. That's the kind of thinking we need to be involved in. And when I saw that, I realized, oh my God, because of where I'm going, even my entertainment changes to a level. So my relationships will change. You know, I'm not going to hang around people who always complain about things. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Because negativity is contagious. No matter how positive you are, when you come into the space of negative people, they will depress you. You know, so one of the things, the demands of my dream is that I must be ready to redefine some relationships. I must be ready, and this I think is the most important. I must be ready to do some things I don't enjoy doing, and I must be ready to drop some things I enjoy doing.
Wow. Yeah, because having a clear vision obviously requires you to have a strong sense of self. Because when things get tough, you're going to need to know why it is that you're doing the things that you're doing. Maybe you can talk about having a strong sense of self, and how do you cultivate that?
Number one, you must always see beyond what you're looking at.
Okay.
And it must start with yourself. I have been through failure in my life, but I would look in the mirror and convince myself that there is more to me than meets the eye. I will convince myself I am not going to make decisions of my life based on what I am looking at. If the only thing you can see is what you are looking at, then you will live a limited version of your life. So I realized there must be more. I am not going to define myself by what I see or what I used to be. I'm going to define myself by where I'm going. We must always, and that affects the way we even relate with people.
Right.
When I relate with people based on what they can be, not what they are, and not who they used to be, then I will relate with them different. So, but it starts with myself. I must realize, and I've said this over and over in different platforms, that if you look back at your life and you do not laugh at some of the things you did, then you have not grown.
Right.
Because I look back at my life and I look at certain things that I did that at the time I was doing them, I thought they were brilliant. But when I look back and I say, wow, Wally, how dumb could you get? You know, I laugh at myself and make corrections. I think that's very, very important.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't laugh at themselves. You see, let me tell you, I have laughed at myself so much. That is why it doesn't matter who laughs at me today or says anything negative about me. I've already said it about myself and I've already laughed about myself. If people can just dedicate this week to laughing at themselves, no, you will be amazed at how it changes the way we think. You know, so I look back, laugh at myself. I'm not going to relate with you based on I must always, and the Bible, there's a verse in the Bible I love. The children of Israel had arrived at Jericho and God told them, he said, see, I have given you the city. Meanwhile, the Bible says the city was it was shut off, it was cut off. And God said, see, I have given you the city. So what is important is not what you are looking at, it is what you are seeing.
Right. So
you look at darkness and you are able to see light in the darkness. A lot of people want life to be logical. Life is not logical. Life does not follow 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. No. Life follows 2, 15, 30, then occasionally back to 20, and then 50. That's the way life is. Now, if you have been trained for a logical life, you will not be able to succeed, because you will just look, all you will see is what you are looking at. The ability to see beyond what you are looking at is what will help you move to the next level. We must never have finality thinking. Everything we see today, this table, this cup, anything we can see today, we can see it in 2 different ways. We can see it as a final state, or we can see it as a raw material for something else.
Right.
Nothing is final. This chair is not final. Somebody can take this chair, dismantle it, and turn it into something else.
Yeah.
Somebody can take this cup, even if it is broken, and turn it into something else.
Right.
In the same way, no matter how messed up we may have been in our lives, it's not final.
And that's the thing about having a clear vision. It does open up possibilities.
That's right.
Right? Like you're saying, nothing is final. What would you say to someone who says, you know, people who rely too much on visions or dreaming, you're sort of living in this potential phase of life. You're not really actually living the life that you want because you're feeling kind of comfortable in, I have so much potential and one day it's going to work out for me.
That's why I said you have to convert the dream to a vision through activity. And you must spell out your activity. It's just like, and we do this all the time in organizations. We have strategic plans, we have key performance indicators, and we do that. So the irony is that we do it for the organizations we work for, but we don't do it for ourselves. We must have a strategic plan for our life. We must have, and we must review it. You know, when my wife and I, when we got married 25 years ago, we were talking about this yesterday. When we got married, when we went for our honeymoon by all standards was very boring. No, I'm serious. We didn't do those, of course, I didn't have money to do. We didn't do all those fancy things people do at honeymoon, go for boat ride, go to the ocean. But we didn't do all those things. We went to a remote hotel in the middle of nowhere. And we would sit down in the morning and we had business-like meetings. It was like a strategic plan. That okay
for your marriage,
for our lives, that okay, now we are together. Okay, how many children are we having? That's
wow.
What kind of life do we want to live? That's put it down.
Wow.
What kind of schools do we want our children to go?
Yeah.
Back. Put it down. What do we want to have accomplished by this age? That's where it was there. You know, so when people see us, oh, you are happily married at 25, your children are doing well, and things like that, there was a plan.
It's about how it began.
There was a plan. Those who do not plan for where they are going will live accidental lives. You know, anything is possible.
Accidental life.
Yes. You know, I was invited to an organization in the US wanted me at a stage to come and be their chief operations officer. And my God, they were offering me a lot of money. And at the time they were doing this, I was so poor that poor people were calling me poor. I was so broke. what kept me was my vision.
Right.
You see, because if you do not have that vision, you are open to market forces. And your life, you see, some people, their life is driven by opportunity. Some people, their life is driven by money. Some people, their life is driven by purpose and by vision. If your life is driven by purpose and by vision, then you will not be driven by money. Money is not what moves me. If your life is driven by purpose and vision, then even you will know that not every opportunity is yours. You would know that, look, there are some opportunities that you will take because it is in line with that strategic plan for your life. And then there are other opportunities you will not take. I know that I am called to the African continent. My vision in life is transforming Africa one mind at a time. That when I have finished my life, my course on the earth, people will say my thinking changed because of Wale. That is what I am here for. Now, so somebody offering me a big job as a chief operations officer in a US company, how does that line up with transforming Africa one mind at a time?
Does not.
So I am driven by vision. Now, at the time I was making that decision based on vision, I looked like a fool. People said I was dumb, I was whatever. But when I look back, it's one of the smartest things I ever did. All right? So you need to be driven by vision. Let me tell you, and this affects every area of society. I was given a paper one day in Nigeria, and a lot of government people were there, and I said, the reason a lot of you cling on to the offices, to the political offices you have, is because you are visionless human beings. You do not have an idea of how you can sustain your lifestyle without political office. You know? Now that is scary. If a lot of people leading us have no vision.
It is a very scary thing.
You know?
What would you say to someone watching who hasn't found their why? They haven't found their meaning. They're just, like you're saying, that, you know, being dropped off at any point along the road by the matatu. and they haven't found why it is that they're doing what they're doing. Where would you encourage that person to start in finding a vision?
I'll encourage that person to ask themselves certain questions. You see, when you want to build a house, you start from the end. You have an idea of what you want the house to look like. You have an architect who helps you design what you want the house to look like. So you start from the end. When you have finished your time on the earth, what do you want people to say about you? What do you want to be written about you? I have decided that history will be good to me because I am going to write my own history. So at the end of my life, like I said, I want people to say Africa is better off because he lived. Because he got people to think in a different way. He got people to see opportunity in the midst of chaos. He got people to see light in the midst of darkness. He got people to see things that had not yet existed and hear words that had not yet been spoken. He got people to see beyond the ordinary and live the extraordinary. That's what I want. So
start at that end.
Start at the end. This is what you want. Okay, fantastic. Then you now come back. What are pillars that can get me there? Okay, I will start small. When I started doing this, I was in Kilifi, I would talk in schools, I would talk in places, and I was writing on, sending out emails. Then we didn't have WhatsApp. I'll send out emails to people and just share my thoughts, on transformation. Now, one thing led to another. As I was writing those things, then somebody got a hold of it and said, can you come talk to our organization? Then one thing led to another. Somebody saw that and said, can you write a column in the newspapers? And then one thing led to another, and here we are.
So work your way.
Don't be scared of starting small. Start small, think big, and grow fast. All
right, fantastic. You say you're not a motivational speaker, and I don't believe you. So, because every time you come here, you leave us feeling motivated. So, thank you so much.
I think I have suffered enough in my life. So, I've always said experience is not the best teacher. It is the most painful teacher. It is only the best teacher if it is somebody else's experience. So it is better to learn from instruction and the experience of others. Then you save yourself a lot of pain. So I think what motivates people is the fact that they can connect with the fact that this is a real guy. He has suffered before. I have sold books at Uhuru Park before. I have been chased by city council on the road before. You know, that is where I'm coming from. So I am a very real human being. I don't like people who just live. I'm a very, very real human being. I have friends who are on the streets. I have friends who are drivers. I have friends who are matatu touts. I have friends who are big people. So it's because the ability to see people not as they are, but as they can be, has been the defining characteristic of my life that has helped me connect with a lot of people. Everybody is a genius. They just need to be told.
Wow. Share your social media handles with us just as we're winding up here. So
yes, at Facebook, Wale Akinyemi resource page, and that's where they get my new book, which you talked about last week, Drive. We have e-copies of it. We talked about, in fact, some of the things I'm talking about now are also from there. Yes. Wale Akinyemi resource page, and then on Twitter at Wale Akinyemi.
All right. Look him up, learn something from his experiences, and of course, we always appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for being here. Willis Aburi yet to come with another interview here on Power Breakfast. So stay